Hey there, what is up, guys? This is Rana Shazali Khan. Yeah, so today we'll be discussing how to customize the list filter part of the Django admin site. This is the part 2 of the tutorial. In the first part, we discussed how to customize the list display part of Django admin site. The list filter basically contains the filter, uh, as the name suggests. You can filter through the data which is shown in our admin panel. So what I've done so far is I've created the project, and in the project we have a customer app, and the models for that app look something like this. We have a profile model which contains couple of fields. We'll come back to those fields, and we have the order model which is connected to that user. So what we have achieved so far is we can create multiple profiles, and those profiles can have multiple orders. So pretty basic so far. And for the admin side, I have added it into the admin side, registered it, and with these basic out of the box properties which we could use, I have added these fields to show up in the list display. That's why I'm able to see this full name, this created at, role, and verified. Also, I've added these two properties to the list filter, so I'm able to see these two, the created at as well as the role. So coming back to the models, actually before going into that, I want to mention that I'm following this tutorial. On the side, I'll be giving the link to the tutorial. You can follow, uh, come back and read this as well. You can copy the code from here as well. Yeah, so coming to the different types of fields which we can add. So as we can see in the models, we have different I've added different types of fields. Some are character fields, some are date fields, some are integer fields, some are boolean fields. So as we can have these all different types of fields, so Django by default gives us a different type of options to use them. For example, as I just added it in the list display, but I'm saying this tick and cross is here, so Django automatically converted this boolean field into this. Likewise, if I would have added this is verified to say in here. So what Django would have done is it had given me three options here: all, which means all of the which mean whether the field is boolean is true or false, both will this will be applied to both, and yes for those only which are true, and no for those which are only false. And all it, for the all, it actually removes the filter. If you can see in the URL, it actually removes the filter when I click on the all, so which essentially gives us all of the results. So we can verify that Django is yeah, converting that boolean automatically and making this generating these options for us, which makes sense. Like a boolean should be converted into true, false, and none applied. Similarly, the date is converted into these five options, like any date, which essentially means like don't apply the filter, and then today applies to today date, and past 7 days, this month, and this year. But you can see this is pretty like standard. We cannot like say we cannot, for example, if the requirement is like you want 5 days or 8 days or 10 days, Django by default doesn't apply that. But if you don't want to make it very complex and just want to leverage what Django has, because obviously this is for the admin use, right? It's not for the customer use. We'll be customizing that somehow differently, but so it's essentially the programmers or the more advanced user is using. If that's the case, so what I wanted to mention here is like if it just say today, so if in the URL it says the name of the uh, property and then double underscore and then GTE, which means like greater than and equal. to, and then I provide the date along with this whole thing is up till here is it's actually the timestamp. uh, this 00 is the time zone. Right here it's saying like this date for UTC. But anyways, what I wanted to mention here, if you can change the date here, like if I do 8 here, and then the results will be for the 8, and then I can do 10, and it can give me like it would have given me the results for that date. But it didn't, because probably due to I was going for the future date. But another thing I wanted to mention is, along with this GTE we also have this LT, which means the less than. So it is so we have a range implemented for the code wise. We have the range implemented here. We can easily give the date, start date here, and the end date here, so that we can filter the result on the basis of that. Okay, so the other object I added was uh, this. It's actually the integer field, but it has some choices, and choices are defined here. For customer, it's saving 1 as an integer. For vendor, it's saving 2 and 3. And the Django is, I've added this field as inside the list filter as a role, which was the name of the field. So Django is automatically picked up those options and provided me here. So I am able to click on any one of these and see the results. So another thing to mention, or I'm actually, as I'm explaining them, I'm also pointing towards the limitation of them, like I mentioned for this uh, these date one. So the limitation for role is here, you cannot select like multiple. You cannot say like click both vendor and admin, if that makes sense. Okay, so what we've done so far is we have used the basic fields which were present inside the models. We had all of these options available in the model. We had role inside the model. We had created at inside the model and is verified inside the model. All of these are three different types of properties or fields, but all of these were present inside the model. So this is the basic use, the most required use, which I can say most of the time this should do the job or almost fine. Now we'll be discussing how to customize some of these options. For example, like I mentioned here above, we can programmatically it's implemented. We can give a start date and an end date, so it will give the result in that date range. But if we want to, obviously we want to make it easier for us, so we want like a field, a date field, or a date picker for start date and a date picker for end date, so we can choose those dates, and it gives us results on the basis of that. Although we can do it through the URL, but this can be a requirement. So that's where the customizations comes in. So that's our next topic, which will in which we'll be covering how to customize some of these default behaviors of the Django admin side. Okay, so moving forward further into the tutorial, we can see like we have this simple custom filter, which is actually our next topic, as I mentioned, as to implement a custom filter, which essentially means will none of these options will be present inside the DB, or not defined by Django but defined by us, uh, because we are adding that custom filter here. For example, let's use this one, in which I'll be creating a new file, custom filter, and I've copy pasted this code here. We'll go through the code line by line. What I've done here essentially is implementing this Django admin's default list filter, and I've imported the profile from the models, and this is the name of the filter which will be displayed here, and this is the parameter which will be used here. Like for example, it's for this created at, these two were set as created at was would have been set here for the Django default, and this created at would have been set here instead of this. This in the Django official documentation, if we can pull up there. The next thing we need to define the lookup, which is essentially saying what are the options which will be shown here, like yes, no, or what other options. This will be the name which will be showing, which will be the user facing. These these two will be the user facing. The second argument and the first argument will be used inside the on the backend side, you can say, or in the URL. In this specific one, what I'm doing is I just wanted to show a basic proof of concept, you can say. What we can do here, I've sort of duplicated this boolean filter in which like it applies for yes and no, but I've done in but the logic behind that is sort of complex, which is like I want to make get all of the users which are signed up with a business email, or the users which are signed up with the non-business email. In this, I have assumed like the Hotmail, Gmail, and the Yahoo are sort of the default business emails. Sorry, default non-business emails, and if any other than that, like for example, this blog is dothedev.com or something like admin at dothedev.com would be considered as a business email in this case. What I've done here. So and then the query set is where I'm differentiating between these options. Like if the value is business, then do this. I could have returned any result from here, but here I'm doing is query set is the all of the results, and then I'm filtering those results further on the basis of like if that email, and then this is the regex I've generated, which is the regular expression, and I'm matching that up with the social regex. So this will return all of the users, filter out the query set on the basis of all of the emails uh, uh, which follows this regular expression, which means like which are the business emails, and this will return all of those which are non-business emails. So how to use it? It's simple. From custom filters, import this, and I can just simply, actually let me reduce a couple. Let's see if this does the job. Okay, so this gives me as we can say, this email types is coming from here. I could have say I change it some, so this will automatically update to that name. So it is to provide that name by default. If in the default behavior of Django, it just picks up this name and shows it there. Okay, so if I do the business emails, let's actually show the emails here, so we're sure like what type of user it's showing. Standard. Actually, I don't have the email in the base, so it's inside the user object, so we cannot show something like user underscore underscore email. This won't work. I've covered it inside the list display customization. So currently what I'll do to show the name is I'll use this, and then inside the model I'll define a property. Get email, and what it does, it returns email of the user. Okay, so now we should be able to see the emails here. Yeah, so the non-business emails are these Gmail and Yahoo ones, and these business emails, the business emails are not. So to make this, this is actually, I'm just show, I just wanted to show some sort of filter you can, this is just an example, so you can modify it to however you want, however different types of results you want to show. For example, you just wanted to show, let's say, I don't know, some to categorize these results into two different types, and you just want a filter of different types of user. For example, you want we created this order model, right? So maybe the requirement is you want to see the users which placed at least one order, or you want to see the users which never placed the order. So you can generate a filter for that, because it's not a default filter, right? So these type of requirements comes when it's not something like a very basic like created ad. It's just a date filter. Django knows what to return, and it's a common use. This is not a common use of filtering out. This is a custom one. Likewise, the requirement of order one is also custom. So if the requirement would have been something like return all of the users which placed at least one order, or maybe you wanted to return the user which never placed an order, so you would have created these two types of user, like users who placed order and who never placed order. Then here you would have returned the lists, filter the list manually, and returned their results. Okay, so next up, coming back to the discussion we had earlier on, which was a requirement where we wanted a UI for the range filters as well. So there's a couple of ways of implementing it. You can do it totally manually on your end. There's also a couple of packages available. So in this tutorial, I have used this package, Django Admin Range Filter, and let this package in itself, uh, it's a very good package. I've used it a lot, and it is also customizable. We can even further customize uh, this this filter as well. Okay, so let's implement that. For that, we have to uh, install the package, add it to the requirements, as well as to the installed apps. So start the server again. And on the admin side, we had this created at by default added here. So this will look something like this, and import this from the date range filter. It's very basic one to use. We just have to install it and then add it here. So what it has done is it provides the start date, and you can provide the end date and then search it. So if you can see in the URL, it has done the same thing which we could have just typed it out. This is just providing the UI, or for the easiness of the user. Started has given it the start date and the end date, and we can see the result. This also gives the date time range filter as well. The way to use it is similar. I'm just implementing it on the same field. You can implement it on different fields as well. So as the name tells, it just gives the time option as well. So you can say like starting from the first. So yeah, so that was basically it. If you want to clear it, you can just press the reset. So that was basically how to implement it. You just have to install it and mm, and import and just basically use it. So that's as far as how it goes to use this part of it. You can, like I mentioned here in the blog, you can do this date range and date time range, two different types of filters. Okay, so this obviously applies uh, to the fields that are present inside the database, right? You would have to mention a field here. For example, the created ad was present inside this uh, uh, immediate model, profile model, right? The profile model contained this created ad. That's why we were able to uh, use this property here. But for example, if now I'm coming towards the limitation of this, actually it's not the limitation, uh, but how to extend it or how to customize it, you can say. Similarly, we were not able to do like user underscore underscore something like that. Actually, this filter allows. Let's just test. For example, yeah. So this join that uh, comes with the user object, which is present in, if we go to the models, it has this user, and then this user further contains this email, username, first name, last name, also contains this join date. This is inside the Django abstract user. So if we add that, let's see if that works. For set to now, yeah. So this works. So this package which we are using, range filter, it allows to go inside the object, sort of the nested usage of this of these fields. uh, but for example, if the requirement is something like this, uh, we want to filter it on the basis of a model which is not directly associated to it. For example, let's for example, this profile object does not have any link to the order, but the order does have a reverse sort of, you can say, connection with the user. So to simplify, we can say the profile does not have any object for the which takes us to the order object, so that we can do something like, for instance, if there was an order object here, we could have done something like, we could have given, where is it, we could have given here like order underscore underscore and then place that, right? If we wanted to filter out those users who placed an order in this range, if that makes sense. If we wanted to, let me rephrase that, if we wanted to see the users who placed the order in a certain date range, and we want to get those users, so we don't have any field here which can take us directly uh, to that order. So we would have to customize it somehow, right? We don't have that field here which we can uh, give to this date range filter, and it can automatically filter on that date, because it's not present inside this profile model which you wanted. This is an example which is coming to my mind for right now, but there can be uh, a, a number of requirements, or number of possible uh, of requirements where we wanted to implement something like that. Obviously, we can add this filter inside the order, inside the order object model, where we can just define date join. Let me actually do that so you can know what I'm saying. Or let's skip through that and just let me verify the name of the field. Yeah, placed at. Yeah. So we can obviously filter out of the orders on the basis of that. Actually, we don't have any records. That's why it's not showing up. Let me add one. Interesting. Oh, so I have not added it here. Oh, so it is a tuple. We too many mistakes. Okay, so I can obviously filter out these order on the basis of these is this date range. So now these orders are in this provided date range, but I don't want the orders. I want the users which placed order in that date range. If that makes sense, that's the difference in these uh, two requirements. So next will be implementing that. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Okay, so for the implementation of the part, we wanted to add that complex scenario where we want to uh, show the users which placed orders in the date range which we provide. Uh, yeah, so for that, if you come to the blog, I have added this part of the code here. Obviously, this is a complex scenario, so the code is also a little bit complex, but we'll go through it line by line for the most of it. Okay, so what what I've done, what we've done here is we are actually extending this default date range filter which came from that package we installed, and now we are extending that further. So we have set this parameter name initially. For us, the parameter name uh, was placed at on the base of on the basis of which we wanted to filter this custom object. uh, we are actually creating this lookup keyword argument which will be passing uh, to the order object. This is currently we are initializing the object with these fields. uh, these will be uh, these will be used to populate this field, and when the page loads, it picks up the properties from this. That's why it's inside the initialization part. And then we also we are setting the field here uh, and picking it out of this placed at uh, uh, this placed at field, and picking it out of this object order which is the model defined here. So we had to do this because let me show how we'll be using it, and then it will be more clear why we're doing that. Okay, so inside the admin we'll be using it like this. So now when we were showing the date range field, we use that default date range filter here, then we also provided this field on the basis of which we wanted to apply this filter, right? So in this case we set the created at, and we if we would have set updated at here, so this filter would be converted on the basis of that updated at. But now we have kept it to the updated at, but for the cases of placed, for the order placed filter, this is useless. This is not being used, right? So but in order for this filter to work, we must provide some date time field. For example, if we would have provided this integer field, this would not work. So maybe this works with the other types of field, but in the documentation it said that it doesn't work for the other types of field, so we would have to provide some field here. But regardless of the field, it doesn't matter because we are overwriting that field here anyway. That's why we are we are using this initializer here and setting that and actually overriding that field here. So this field by default comes from there, but now whatever field we send from there, it's being overridden by this place that field which we picked out of this order object. So we also set that order here, here, as well as here, and that field here. We could have set this parameter name here, but whatever, I just felt like placing the pasting the name here, typing the name here. As far as the query set is concerned, so this template I have picked it from the documentation of the of, of this package we're using. So in this query set, I'm just first of all I'm just validating the form which is submitted, so that I'm getting this placed at fields for the less than and greater than. Then next what I'm doing is I'm using this list comprehension and generating a list of users uh, which uh, which are being filtered from this order object. So this is what it's doing, is it's filtering the orders on the basis of this query which is being generated from here, this function which is returning the essentially returning the query parameters which we are passing here, which is essentially like placed at, less than, equal to, and then date, and then likewise the greater than and equal for the range. So we are providing that range to this order object, and then we just are, for the values we just sent user. So that means we just want one object to be returned user for it to be faster, and then we are just picking out that user and making a list out of all of the users. Okay, so this return us the list of the users, and then from the query set we just filtered those results here. And yeah, so that's all about it, and how we'll be using it. I just showed I've just shown you. Just use it like simple, like how we use other date ranges. And like we have an order for today. I just created an order, and if I see, so it's against this user. If I go to the orders, I should be able to see that order. Yeah, we have just this one order which I just created against this user. So if I just clear the filter, I see all of the users, user profiles, and if I just set today's date, so I'm able to see this uh, the users who placed order in this date range. So this was actually, I don't know if it was any useful example, but I just wanted to show like how we can customize the list filter. And then I have added another package for the sake of customization of the default list filters, and then we went a step further for customizing that specific package as well. Yeah, so hopefully this tutorial was helpful, and let me know if you guys are stuck somewhere. And yep, happy coding. And for the last part, I want to mention, if you face any problem as we are using this this package. So if you are having any problem with this code, there might be some issue with the uh, with the versioning. So make sure you are using this same exact version if you want this same exact uh, results I'm getting. Otherwise, that's it for today. See you guys in the next tutorial. Goodbye.